Welcome to the shit show. Every single day, a new flavor of fuckery. Cause everybody's such, you see, and they're dumber than a bag of clots. Monday, bullshit. Tuesday, bullshit. Wednesday, hey, what the fuck? And then 4 more days of increasingly stupid, ridiculous, ignorant, boulder dash, poppycock, bollocks, and fuckery.
Oh my fucking God. Okay, so I have multiple StreamYard accounts, so that way I don't actually have to, go and pay for it. Anyway, so the one I was signed in on my phone, and I had been signed in previously, apparently. Alright, so I usually set these up on my phone, because that's where I do, the thumbnail editing, this and that. Well, apparently there was a disconnect. So apparently the StreamYard I was logged in on my phone with was not the same one I was logged in on my computer. So I had a feeling I was supposed to have a live stream, and I check on my computer, and since it was the wrong StreamYard account, I don't see anything pending. And I'm like, that's weird. I thought I must have dreamed it. I was like, maybe I didn't have one set up. I just now found out that I in fact do. And I am hours fucking. I am so fucking pissed off. I can't believe this fucking happened. Man, I filled out the whole description thing. I tried to make a cool little, I should have just not gone on tonight. I should have just rescheduled it. Because, yeah. I tried to have the same StreamYard account on my computer as I do my phone at any given time. So that way, when I set it up on my phone, I can see it on my computer. So, yeah, there was a disconnect. So I'm looking, I'm like, I don't see it. I could have sworn. And so I'm starting to make another one for tomorrow night. And I'm like, this description I'm putting in the description section seems awfully familiar. What the fuck, And it's bugging me. And I decided to go look on my actual YouTube page. And there it is. And I'm like, son of a bitch. So, yeah, I fucked up huge. Holy fuck. Meow, meow, Connie. How are you doing? I can't believe I fucked up that bad. Because I just didn't see it. I thought I had set one up. I feel so stupid. And I feel so dumb for this. Meows the lady missed. See. And Hugs Optic Racer. Nobody's here. Connie's here, obviously. I can't believe that I couldn't find this live stream. And like I said, I was certain. I've been kind of off. I didn't get much sleep last night, and don't generally. I got up really early, kind of ran myself ragged. Had to go to the hospital because I had unusually bad abdominal pain. Turns out, how the fuck do we pronounce this? Hold on, let me turn on my camera. Where the fuck is it? It's hard to see it, but that is a type of hernia, which means that's going to require surgery. So I end up coming home, doing some stuff around 6:30 or so. And what's weird, my alarm didn't go off for the live stream either. That's really bizarre. I fell asleep, which is strange. I usually don't fall asleep before 4 o'clock in the morning, so that blew my mind. So yeah. Well, I guess we'll just get into this, and hopefully people will just check it out on the replay. Because we've already gone too far. We might as well do this. Not raccoons tonight. I screwed up, and the StreamYard account I have on my phone is not the same as what was on my computer. So when I looked on my computer to see for sure what time my stream was going to start, and I didn't find it, I thought I must have dreamed it because I hadn't been feeling good today. So I was like, I must have been in and out of it or something, It was 2 different accounts. So I just now found that there's my pending live stream. I'm like, fuck. So, we're just going to do this, I guess. Yeah, that obviously that I would love to blame that on someone else, but I am my own agent, my own secretary, my own assistant. So it is all my fault. Anyway, so let me, No, what it is like I only use the free service. I get my 20 hours a month. And so I use like 2 or 3 of my email accounts and 1 or 2 of my boyfriend's emails. So that way I have, a bunch of hours that I can use and I can just rotate them out. And this is the first time I've actually made this mistake where I was logged in on one device and logged in on another StreamYard on this one. This is the first time I've actually made this mistake. But I'm fucking feeling stupid for doing so. Like I said, I'm trying to tell myself it's okay. I wasn't feeling good. I even went to the hospital today. I had to have surgery. So, my shit wasn't all like in order like it ought to have been. But anyway, let me get a quick gander of what. Make sure I got my shit in order here. Okay, that's not something I'm showing, or I have no reason to show this particular thing. Okay, let me close down my email where I got my StreamYard code to fix this mess. All right, we're just gonna do this. Entire screen, advisable. All right. If I sound a little out of breath, I'm sorry. The place where the herniated tear is just below my sternum and about an inch or 2 to the right. And so it's kind of inflamed, which means it's also kind of swelling up against my diaphragm. So it makes it a little uncomfortable to breathe. So if I sound extra out of breath, this is why. So again, apologies. All right, get over here. All right, the world's worst crisis is in the Sudan. It's been bad for a long time. And I do feel bad that I haven't been covering more of this. It's just, like I said, there's so many terrible things everywhere. It's hard to keep track of it. I mean, I did cover, like, some of the bad guys in the Sudan doing the damage and who's funding and training them. Sorry. All right. Poor kid. All right. The war in the Sudan is a tragic afterthought in global politics, forgotten amid the conflicts in the Middle East and Ukraine. But 19 months after the fighting between rival warlords and affiliated militias have ravaged one of Africa's largest countries and provoked a rolling humanitarian disaster, some 26 million, about of half of the Sudan's population, need food assistance in the country that's home to the largest displacement crisis. Close to 10 million people have been classified by the United Nations as critically food insecure, that is, on the cusp of famine or already in the grips of it. That's so awful. Both in terms of spread and of acuteness of hunger, this is the worst humanitarian hunger catastrophe that we have on the planet today. Alex Marinelli, acting country director for the Sudan's UN World Food Program, told me the world has collapsed, local economies disrupted harvests and impede the flow of goods through the country. Food prices have skyrocketed, making basic staples unaffordable to many ordinary Sudanese. The number of deaths by malnutrition are rising in camps for refugees and displaced. UN officials and aid organizations that have food to feed the hungry, but the complexity of delivering and distributing the aid in vast country overrun by a mosaic of competing militias has been overwhelming. Yeah, that is so fucking unfortunate, and like I need to look more into it because there's a lot of people to point the finger at, I'm sure. Let's see. Next article. Yeah. What in the Bill Gates is going on here? Unknown flu-like disease kills 150, sparking pandemic fears. Joy. Health officials have raised the alarm after an unknown disease with flu-like symptoms killed nearly 150 people since first being detected. Deaths have been reported in Congo province of the Panzi Health Zone in southwest of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Oh, excuse me. Remy Saki, the deputy governor of the province, said that staples samples are being collected and analyzed in a bid to identify the disease behind the outbreak. And we all know that freaking Bill Gates and all his people love to go to places like the Congo and just do mass injections of all kinds of stuff, because it's a lot easier to treat people like guinea pigs in places the rest of the world doesn't seem to care about. Because it's always weird how weird shit pops up there, you know? The initial report of 143 deaths was recorded between November 10th and November 25th. Symptoms of the disease include fever, headache, cough, anemia. Health Minister Apollinaire Yomba told reporters over the weekend. Health officials said the development was extremely worrying and the number of deaths is rapidly increasing. There is only 67 reported deaths from the mysterious disease on November the 25th. Many patients who have caught the disease are reportedly dying in their homes after they struggle to get treatment. The Congo officials have not reported any test results, and it is unclear whether patients have received negative results for other diseases. A World Health Organization spokesman said the UN Health Agency had been notified about the presence of the disease in the past week, and that it is working alongside the African country's health ministry in a bid to make further investigations. Civil society leader Sefron Manzanza said the situation was worrying amid a sharp rise in cases. The official added, Panzi is a rural health zone, so there is a problem with supply of medicines. It comes as the Congo continues to suffer from mpox outbreaks that has ripped through the population. Mail Online reported. It is unclear what is the latest fatal disease, or what this latest fatal disease is, although the Congo has suffered multiple disease outbreaks recently, including 12 instances of Ebola. Isn't it weird that seems to happen there and nowhere else? And we can't say it's a sanitation issue, because there are parts of India that are atrocious. You know what I mean? So I think it's interesting that a place that the World Health Organization and the Gates Foundation love to play guinea pig stuff at, this is where the weird shit fucking happens. You know what I mean? The country has reported 47,000 suspected cases of mpox and of some 1,000 suspected deaths. According to the WHO, yeah, of course it's them. Unlike an epidemic where cases classified to describe diseases that are actively growing within the region of pandemic is classified when it reaches over countries and continents. There have been numerous examples of pandemics, such as the silly shit we've been dealing with, disease that spread rapidly from China. It's weird they're saying China, because for a long time they were saying you weren't supposed to say that. That's kind of funny. And other cases like bird flu strains have been classed as pandemics. I really wish like the Gates Foundation would just leave people alone and stop doing strange shit to them. Because like I said, this seems to happen there in the Congo more than anywhere else in the world. Can't be a coincidence. Let's see. Hello, Madness. Hi. She said, Madness, Piers. Well, the timing is amazing. And welcome. So glad to see you. Hi, Sashi. I didn't do the raccoons thing tonight because, well, I don't know what their deal is. This is the quietest my attic has been in years. So I'm not sure what their problem is. Maybe they just have to get used to the lights being up there and maybe they'll chill out. Actually, they're more likely to come back tonight because they like to go up in the attic and hide from the cold. And now it's 27 degrees. The other night, it was 20 degrees warmer than that. So, but unfortunately, I have like a medical issue at the moment that makes it probably unwise for him to climb up a ladder to get the camera going up there. So I will see about doing it tomorrow night or delegating someone to, start it up tomorrow night. They released the final report of the virus unknown recently. I'm apparently no longer a conspiracy theorist. Right? Yeah, they always say that, the difference between a conspiracy theorist and fact is about 6 months. It doesn't say that he's involved. I'm just sort of throwing out a theory that most common, sorry, a whole bunch of thoughts trying to come out. So often he's involved with, all these little jabbing campaigns in third world countries. And it just, I don't know, it's like the reverse Midas touch. Things go to shit wherever that guy goes. It does seem to be commonly so, but it just seems to be odd outbreaks now and then. It seems like the go-to method for research these days is do it in a place that has it. That way, if it escapes, you can claim it was not right. That is very clever there, Sashi. Because there's not going to be a whole lot of information coming out of there. Technically, arguably, the people there, the outsiders doing the experiments, technically the experiments go wrong. They could technically just execute the people in the village, and who's going to tell on them? It's not like a lot of them have TikTok or anything to, leak the video to let the people see what's happening. So many terrible things could be happening to these folks. All right, let me get back over here. Next. Judge okays moving Netanyahu testimony to Tel Aviv amid concerns for his security. Maybe he should be more likable. Prime Minister Netanyahu will take the stand in his corruption trial next week in an underground courtroom in Tel Aviv due to security issues with holding the hearings in Jerusalem. The judge in the premier's corruption trial ruled Tuesday. Yeah. He's worried for his safety. It's because you've done bad things, dude. Usually innocent people don't look over their shoulder a lot. I'm just going to say. The decision was announced a day after the Shin Bet and the court administration recommended temporarily moving the trial to the Tel Aviv District Court as they sought an alternative for inadequate protective measures available at the Jerusalem District Court. Netanyahu is set to begin testifying December the 10th after a series of delays stemming from the Prime Minister's administration of the war against Hamas in Gaza until last week against Hezbollah in Lebanon. Yeah, I knew, because they've been trying to get him in court for corruption and bribery charges for the last 2 or 3 years. And it was getting closer and closer to where he was going to have to. So that was a side bonus to him, going so crazy with this fucking war, because he's trying to stay out of jail. Next. Why these Israeli men volunteer to fight but now refuse to return to Gaza? Developing a conscience is a thing. Every single person in his platoon knew someone who had been killed. Yuval Green, 26, knew at least 3. He was a reservist, a medic in the paratroopers' defense of IDF when he heard the news of October 7th attack. Israel's a small country. Everyone knows each other. In several days of violence, 1,200 people were killed, 251 more abducted, 97 hostages remaining in Gaza. Around half of them are believed to be alive. Now, see, that part gets me. So, out of 97 hostages they think remain, they're saying that half of them are believed to be alive. So, it begs the question, where's the other half? The other half that are dead. Do you know how awkward it would be to have 43 dead bodies you have to tote around with you, sneaking from place to place, trying to avoid Israel's military? Does that sound logical to anybody? It doesn't to me. I believe that there are dead hostages there. Most likely they were killed in an airstrike and they're probably buried under rubble somewhere. Because there's no way that you're going to be all, Mission Impossible, from one building to another. toting around 43 dead bodies. Like, dude, that's not going to happen. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Yuval immediately answered his country's call to arms. It was a mission to defend Israelis. He recalled the horror of entering the devastated Jewish communities near the Gaza border. You're seeing dead bodies on the streets, seeing cars punctured with bullets. Back then, there was no doubt about reporting for duty. The country was under attack. The hostages had to be brought home. Then came the fighting in Gaza itself. Things seemed that could not be unseen. Like night, he saw cats eating human remains in the roadway. Unless the cats are super fucking hungry, cats are not going to do that. Cats have been heard about, eating people. Generally, like when someone dies at home and their pets are starving, stray cats just eating human bodies, I don't think is normally a thing. They prefer rodents and shit. I think this is for dramatic effect. Very gross dramatic effect. Anyway, start to imagine like the apocalypse. You look to your right, you look to your left, and all you see is destroyed buildings, buildings that are damaged by fire, by missiles, everything. Now, notice he said by missiles, because the people who invaded that day, they weren't really carrying around missiles. They had rifles and some other shit, but the missiles and or the large damaging stuff to the buildings was actually done by Israel itself. There's footage of that, of the tanks rolling down their own neighborhoods and firing into houses. It's called their Hannibal Directive. Yeah, that's what it is, a Hannibal Directive. Anyway, 1 year on, the young man who reported for duty on October 7th is refusing to fight. Yuval is a co-organizer of a public letter signed by 165, at the latest count, of IDF reservists and small number of permanent soldiers refusing to serve or threaten to refuse unless the hostages are returned, something that would require a ceasefire deal with Hamas. In a country still traumatized by the worst violence in its history, oh, for heaven's sake. Those refusing for reasons of conscience are a minority in the military that includes 465,000 reservists. There is another factor in play for some of the other IDF reservists: exhaustion. According to Israeli media reports, a growing number are failing to report for duty. The Times of Israel newspaper and several other outlets quoted military sources as saying that there was a drop between 15 to 25% of troops showing up, mainly due to burnout with long periods of service required of them. Well, that'll do it. Yeah, things will probably get a lot better if more people started doing this. Anyway, next. Supreme Court majority appears skeptical about allowing Holocaust survivors to sue the country of Hungary in the United States court. First off, why? What? How are we even in that jurisdiction? Let's see. Because what the fuck? A majority of the Supreme Court on Tuesday appeared skeptical that Holocaust victims and their families are permitted to haul Hungary into American courts to recover stolen property during World War II, with several justices fearing that it would open up the United States with a flood of similar litigation from abroad. I agree. Because what the fuck? It is 2024. Like, first off, yeah, I'd have to look it up because there can't be many of these left. Now, their families, okay, I get that. But, like, how the hell do you expect to get back stolen property unless the country of Hungary has it in their museums or something? That's possible. We'll read on in a minute. But this has been, 80 years? I mean, I don't math, but it's been like 80 years, and now you're doing this? It's weird. More than a dozen victims of the Holocaust and their families have been fighting the Republic of Hungary and its national railway for nearly 15 years over whether they may continue their lawsuit in federal court under a narrow exception to the general prohibition on suing foreign governments in the United States. It's National Railway. I'm a little confused about that. Hungary stole respondents' property while forcing them into cattle cars. Okay, that's making a little bit more sense. Representing the families told the Supreme Court during the 90 minutes of argument when Hungary then used the money it received from selling what property to buy equipment in the United States. Okay. It puts into the United States property that has been exchanged for expropriated property. Okay, it makes a little more sense because the headline was like, what the fuck? And again, waiting 80 years to do that. That is wild. And you're suing the railway. Like, the same people who were running it back then aren't even alive anymore. Like, you're basically going to be suing brand new people who had nothing to do with it. That's kind of crazy. I mean, it's an interesting thing to try. But let's go look. The appeal appeared likely to split the Supreme Court along non-ideological lines, with both conservative and liberal concerned about the implications of the decision for the families. Foreign nations generally have what's known as a sovereign immunity that bars parties from suing them in domestic courts. But the federal law in the United States includes an exception when a case involves expropriated property that is present in the U.S. The families say that the money Hungary received when it liquidated the property it stole from Jewish families was, I don't know that word, common led, I guess, with other funds that some portion of that money was spent in the United States. When they said a narrow exception, they weren't kidding. But again, I mean, I don't know when they started doing this, but because of that, families argue the exception should apply. But their position drew sharp questioning from Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Brett Kavanaugh, two conservatives who sit at the center of the court and most often wind up with a majority when the decisions are handed down. This is really just throwing out the whole sovereign immunity principle under the rest of the world, in which the rest of the world operates. Congress had in mind a much narrower exception than that. It's a tough one. Maybe they'll tell us some of what they're like, what properties and stuff. And they're like, I mean, I guess they'd be judging with inflation. Like, do they have receipts and stuff to prove what properties were liquidated and what went where? Like, I do wonder about that. Kavanaugh said he was concerned about the foreign policy implications of ruling for the families, worrying that other nations might reciprocate and make it easier for people to sue the United States. Well, yeah, we wouldn't want anyone to sue the United States or anything. Fuck. No other country in the world has an expropriation exception to begin with, right? It's a big deal to haul a foreign country into U.S. court. That is kind of wild. Several of the court's liberals also appear to have reservations with the family's argument. Justice Sonia Sotomayor recounted a hypothetical about a parent depositing $100 to start a bank account for a newborn and then arguing that the same money remained part of the account after a lifetime worth of transactions. It's an interesting concept that the $100 that my mother put into an account the day I was born, that a piece of it is still there 60 or 70 or 80 years later. It's a fiction that takes quite an imagination. Yeah. This is kind of wild. Justices Kagan and Alito, a liberal and a conservative, respectively, worry that immunizing foreign countries that simply mix expropriated property into general funds would render the exception to Congress approved unless because countries would have an easy path to avoiding scrutiny from federal courts. You know, this is a concept I never thought of. I don't even know how to have an opinion about this. This is like, Doesn't this provide a roadmap to any country that wants to expropriate good property? Yeah, I can see America being concerned about this, considering how many things America has stolen from other places. I think we're almost second to England, how they like to steal a lot of shit. Let's see. Kagan asked the attorney representing Hungary, Josh Glasgow, in other words, you just sell the property, put it into the national treasury, insulate yourself from all claims for all time? At one point, Alito appeared to brush aside Kavanaugh's concerns about foreign reciprocation, questioning whether Washington would really have to worry about such suits. Is the United States going to go around expropriating the property of foreign nationals? Alito asked an attorney representing Biden's administration, which has sided with Hungary in the appeals. Kavanaugh snapped back, suggesting his concern was that expanding the exception would make the United States vulnerable to suits for historical actions as well. Perhaps they should consider a statute of limitations on something like this. I mean, 80 years sounds pretty tricky to try to trace what it was that was taken, how much it was, sold for, this, that, and the other. Justice Alito asked a question about the suits against the United States. I assume those would be backward-looking suits for things that happened long ago. I would assume so, said Josie, representing the Biden administration. The victims initially filed their lawsuit in 2010, and the case has been bouncing around federal courts for so long that it previously reached the Supreme Court 4 years ago. In that instance, the justices ultimately sent the matter back to lower courts for additional review, tossing out the federal appeals court ruling for the families in the process. A federal appeals court in Washington, D.C. sided with the victims last year, and Hungary appealed to the Supreme Court. A decision in the case, Hungary versus Simon, is expected next year. They might have to consider it a statute of limitations to some degree on stuff like this. But again, at the same time, the United States, it has gotten involved in so many people's shit and it has looted and profited from shit like this. So that is kind of that's an interesting one. Next article. Oh, excuse me. The IDF says it returned bodies of 2 Jordanian terrorists who infiltrated near the Dead Sea in October. I didn't know anyone from Jordan had done that. I think it's wild how they just tear up Gaza, but they didn't tear up Jordan because some of their people did it. Like, that's kind of interesting, I think. The IDF says it has turned the bodies of 2 Jordanian terrorists who infiltrated Israel in October back to Jordan overnight. And that's a long time, too. That's kind of gross because those bodies have been sitting somewhere for over a year. Ew. That's kind of nasty. The gunmen, members of the Muslim Brotherhood in Jordan, breached the border in an area south of the Dead Sea, close to the border community of, I swear to God, they did this on purpose. Nyat Haker here? Fuck. They opened fire at the IDF troops, wounding 2 before being shot dead, having managed to cross no more than a few meters into Israel territory. Well, they didn't get far. Their bodies were returned to... They did the wrong 2, I believe. Their bodies were returned to Jordan in accordance with the directive of the political echelon, the military adds. Yeah, that's wild. Waiting like over a year to hand over a dead body. Like, that seems to be a common thing going on right now. Where, they'll hold bodies for a long time and then hand them over like 6 months or a year later. And I find it so suspicious as well because there's been a lot of debate on whether or not they've been doing weird ass shit like illegal organ harvesting. You should look up Israeli Skin Bank. Google that when you're bored. Just saying. But don't use regular Google for that. When I say Google stuff, I mean just like research it in general. But yeah, try to find different browsers to try to find information on that. But that is some weird fucking shit. Hamas threatens to neutralize hostages if Israel launches rescue. Hamas internal statement. You know, I have a hard time believing this sometimes. And it's not because I believe they're super good guys or anything. It's just that they have absolutely worked day and night to censor Telegram channels that Hamas runs. Because almost nothing infuriates me more. Like, we're gonna stop these people from talking. We're not gonna allow anyone to see it. So you'll have to rely on us for us to tell you what it says. Fuck you. Because I tried looking up Hamas Telegram channels the other night, trying to see what I could find, and I just kept getting blockaded with articles talking about how the what is it, the ADL and a bunch of other groups were basically putting pressure on the government to censor those so we can't see them. I'm like, well, I mean, if they're assholes, you should want us to see what they're saying so we can be on your side, right? Like what do you got to hide? Hamas said it had information that Israel intended to carry out a hostage rescue operation similar to the one conducted in Gaza's Nuseirat camp in June and threatened to neutralize the captives if such an operation took place, according to an internal statement seen by Reuters on Wednesday. Considering how much disinformation they put out as a psyops, I mean, it's possible this is true. I'm not doubting that possibility. It's just, it's hard to believe anything anymore. In the internal statement dated November 22nd, Hamas told its operatives not to consider any repercussions of the following the instructions, and said Israel was responsible for the fate of the hostages. I mean, even a lot of the Israeli citizens are saying the exact same thing. They're holding the government responsible for not trying to do more to get the hostages back. It did not say when any Israeli operation was expected to take place. Well, of course, they're not really going to announce that. Now we come to this piece of shit governor here in Oklahoma. Fuck this guy in particular. Fuck, I hate this guy. All right, I don't know if this article is going to tell you about it, but hopefully it does. But yeah, I looked it up, and Kevin Stitt has been getting tens of thousands of dollars from the poultry companies like Tyson. In exchange, they get immunity from throwing like pollution and stuff into our rivers from their chicken factories. So Stitt took a shit ton of money and then made a law to protect them from being sued. Stitt fires a member of cabinet over court appearance. Governor Stitt fired a member of his administration on Tuesday due to a court appearance. Ken McQueen was appointed by Stitt for 2 roles as a member of his cabinet and a director of the Department of Energy. McQueen was named as a plaintiff in a long-running lawsuit over chicken waste pollution in eastern Oklahoma. Stitt announced he fired McQueen for attending the court proceedings. I don't think that can't be legal. Like, I don't think you can legally fire somebody from their office for being a plaintiff in a lawsuit like this. Like, I don't see how he can actually do it. The governor wrote about his disappointment for McQueen's involvement in a lawsuit against Tyson Foods. Former Oklahoma attorney Drew Edmondson took on poultry companies like Tyson because waste from chicken farms led to high phosphorus and E. coli contamination in eastern Oklahoma waterways. This included recreational rivers like the Illinois River. A federal judge found Tyson and other companies guilty of polluting. U.S. District Judge Gregory Fizzle in Tulsa ruled in 2023 that Arkansas-based Tyson Foods, Minnesota-based Cargill Incorporated, and other companies polluted the Illinois River, caused a public nuisance and trespassed by spreading the litter and manure on land in eastern Oklahoma, and that it reached into the river's watershed. The problem is that the state and those poultry companies were not able to come to a settlement agreement. The case is ongoing 2 decades later. Oklahoma lawmakers passed new rules shielding poultry companies from lawsuits during the last legislative session that ended in May. The corruption is so right in our faces, I swear to God. Stitt has already named a replacement. Jeff Starling will be the new Secretary of Energy and Environment. Isn't it weird that he fired the Secretary of Energy and Environment for being a plaintiff in a lawsuit because Tyson polluted the water? Like, if you're the Secretary of Energy and Environment, exactly what the fuck are you supposed to do when someone's polluting the water? Like, what the fuck? Starling was a top attorney for Lagoon Water Midstream, which recycles wastewater from oil and gas production. Boy, that sounds very difficult to do to get those chemicals out. So yeah, he sued and I'm sad that the article isn't talking about how much money Stitt has made from this, but let's go take a quick look and see what we can find. Where's my keyboard? There it is. Oh, excuse me. Stitt receives thousands of dollars from poultry. All right, let's see if it says anything. Maybe I should. Oh, it autocorrected. Sorry. Yeah. There we go. Hopefully we'll. It's probably not doing. My keyboard's a dick. What? Are we really gonna be like this? Oh, for God's sakes. Give me a second. My keyboard is skipping letters and all that. There we go. 2 days ago, 3 days ago. Yeah, I'm trying to find something. This is from June the 10th of this year. The governor has received thousands in donations from poultry officials, including more than 30,000 from members of an Arkansas-based Simmons family, which owns Simmons Foods, and was named in a federal lawsuit. So, I mean, it's really right there. The governor received bribe money from a company that was named in a federal lawsuit for pollution. And he passed a law to protect them. I don't know how he's not arrested. This is what I just don't fucking get. What's going on in Oklahoma? Like, this is such clear bribery. He clearly was bribed. At least, and that particular one was just 30,000 from the Simmons family. That's not even including the other ones. See if they mention the other ones. Let's see. Yeah, he's very excited to sign them. Yeah, I bet he fucking is. Yeah, talking about the phosphorus, nitrogen, E. coli. Oof. And whatever weird bacteria that is. Oh, that's weird. I don't see it mentioning the money on this. I wonder if they updated it to hide that. I'm not seeing that. Sometimes when they realize they published something they don't want people to know about, they'll update it and it'll hide it. But sometimes the thing will still show that it was there. Oop, shouldn't have done that. But yeah, y'all can still see it. $30,000 just from that company alone. So yeah, see, I'm not lying. So this dude is an evil piece of shit. I actually saw him today when I was at the Capitol, and he came out of his office, and he happened to look in my direction and started to look away as he was walking, and then kind of stopped, and I just kind of mean mugged him, and we just kind of stared at each other weirdly for a second, and then he kind of like slowly started continuing his walk. It was weird. Like, dude's big. Part of me feels sassy that like my mean mug, stopped a 6'4" man in his tracks for a minute. Like, ha. Anywho, set up for failure. Oklahoma has invested millions in predatory contract for deeds business. Yo, you're about to find out there's some crazy shit going on, and our politicians are involved in this. Michelle Houston was in a bind. After 6 months of living in cramped quarters with her parents, she needed to quickly find a home for her 5 kids, husband, and 3 dogs. It's a lot of everything for that. But didn't qualify for a mortgage and had trouble renting after previous eviction notices. Then she heard about Berry Rock Homes. They would let her pick out a home in Midwest City, buy it on her behalf, and let her pay them back under a contract for deed sale, which, on the surface sounds good. She and her mom put down a non-refundable fee of $11,550, money she described as a pre-inheritance from her parents. Along the way, Houston, hey, stop scratching the couch, jackass. Fucking cats. Let's see. Along the way, Houston thought she could build up enough monthly payments to buy the home herself after 2 years. More than a year later, Houston and her husband, Cornelius, spent almost all their monthly income on housing. They spent hundreds on repairs, had their gas service shut off for non-payment, and been taken to eviction court because they got behind on monthly payments. We love our house. We want to be able to keep our house, but I think we're still on the path to failure here. Berry Rock Homes is one of several contract for deed companies filling the gap between landlords and regular mortgage lenders. But there's a twist. One of its biggest investors is the state of Oklahoma, which put $8 million in 2022. As lawmakers push for affordable housing programs to the forefront, the state also benefits from what critics call predatory lending. I feel like the state of Oklahoma should not be able to invest in things like this. Property records show an LLC formed by Nick Berry, one of the founders of the Berry Rock, bought the Houston's Midwest City house in May of 2023 for $165,000. Houston and her husband signed the rental and contract deed documents in June of 2023. She shared copies of the documents with the Oklahoma Watch. Hold on, gotta get my drink. Houston said she never met Berry in person, and the documents were electronically signed over a series of emails. That sounds suspicious as fuck. Because when you sign stuff like this, I don't know. Isn't there supposed to be some sort of notary public or something involved? Well, whatever. The option to purchase said the Houstons put down $11,550 for non-refundable fee, and they had the right to buy their home for $163,350 by June of 2025. The Houstons received monthly option credit fee of $165 for each month they paid the rent on time. Rent was $1,900 per month for the 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. An option credit fee of $165 each time they paid the rent on time. That sounds fucking bizarre. The Houston's Midwest City home is owned by limited liability company that has the same name as the address. That also sounds suspicious. It's one or more than 600 similarly named LLCs named after a single-family home in Oklahoma registered by either Berry or Cameron Rock, the founders of the Berry Rock home. Yeah, that sounds super strange. The state made its investment in Berry Rock through the Commissions of Land Office, which manages $2.7 billion, pinkies up to the side of the mouth, fund in state land, oil, and gas leases and commercial properties for the benefit of the public education. The 5-person commission comprises of some of the state's top elected officials, including the governor, the lieutenant governor, the state auditor, the superintendent of public instruction, which I do believe is Ryan Walters, and it distributed $145.1 million to schools, colleges, and universities in the fiscal 2024 year. Okay. I find something insanely wrong that this kind of silliness is going on, and the 5-person commission is some of our top elected officials, including our governor, lieutenant governor, auditor, superintendent. So basically, they named 4 of the 5 people already. I mean, I can't be the only one seeing how fucked this is. The land office invested $8 million in Berry Rock, Oklahoma, and you know they use tax dollars. Here's the thing: you know they use tax dollars to do this. If the state of Oklahoma pays into something, it's because it's tax dollars, and they keep making money. So they use tax dollars to get into some kind of business to profit off it. And these top political officials right here in Oklahoma are getting paid for this. The land office invested $8 million on Berry Rock, Oklahoma LP in 2022. It gets a steady 11% return each year on the investment, but some lawmakers have questioned whether the investment was structured more like a loan. In a legislative hearing in 2023, they peppered land office officials with questions about the investment. We have invested in a capital real estate company. Have we invested in a capital real estate company? Asked Senator Michael Brooks. That 11% has got to be guaranteed, and how we now just made a loan, not an investment. Land office officials said their legal analysts show that Berry Rock qualified as an investment in securities and the agency has an ownership stake in the partnership. So Berry Rock was an existing entity, but the vehicle we invested in was a new entity. Their way of phrasing this makes it sound really odd. The Legislative Office of the Fiscal Transparency, which issued a broader report on the land office last year, said it could not obtain financial statements about the agency's Berry Rock investment. Really? You can't obtain statements for this. Yeah, that's more shady ass shit. Wow. The investment manager who examined the partnership agreement for Oklahoma Watch said it looked like a blind pool. As such, it would be hard to verify much about the investment, including how the money was invested in total, how it was invested, or what fees were incurred. The Oklahoma's contract with Berry Rock makes the land office a limited partner in the investment. So the land office is a limited partner in this investment, but they're also saying they could not obtain the financial statements that people were requesting. An investment manager who examines the partnership agreement. Oh, I already read that part. Sorry. The partners desire to form a limited partnership for the purpose of investing in real estate operations. The partnership agreement states it does not list any details about what type of real estate would qualify. This is all such shady ass shit, and I can't believe nobody's doing anything about it. The politicians here are just completely above the law. Like, nobody is doing anything about the shit they're doing. They're just running wild, doing whatever the fuck they want. Berry Rock owns nearly 700 single-family homes in Oklahoma and Missouri. Sorry, need another drink. The land office pays Oklahoma City-based Buchanan Capital Management $28,000 per year to manage the Berry Rock investment. Separately, the agency pays $12,600 for an annual net asset valuation of its Berry Rock investment, and the latest valuation for the fiscal 2023 estimate the fair value investment between $4.7 million and $7.8 million. It's said that the Berry Rock portfolio consists of 696 single-family homes in Oklahoma and Missouri. The Berry Rock spends $11.8 million to add 53 new properties in the second quarter of 2024. According to the investment update provided by the land office at the end of July. It sold 30 properties valued at $6.2 million during the same time period. Berry Rock operates a single-family home portfolio valued around $145.5 million. In an interview, Berry said that Berry Rock doesn't do any direct consumer marketing, preferring to get clients via referrals from real estate brokers and loan offices. The company buys houses valued between $100,000 and $1 million on behalf of customers. If people are running around with that kind of money, they probably shouldn't be needing this company in the first place. Many of its customers are salespeople or real estate agents who don't have predictable incomes that would satisfy the requirements for a traditional mortgage. It's not like we're going to go out advertising, trying to find suckers with a yard sign or something goofy, Barry said. Wait, what? So he's referring to customers as suckers? Really? It's not like we're going to go out advertising, trying to find suckers with yard signs. So he's actually implying that the people who do business with him are suckers. Wow. That's bold talk right there. I kind of want to kick the shit out of him. Wow. We are literally working through a referral network of licensed realtors and agents that they themselves could get in trouble if they were referring folks to do to something that's not proper. Okay. Barry Rock recently qualified for local incentives from Oklahoma City to build $23 million office buildings at Northeast 5th and Walnut. The company teamed up with Prism Bank for a 600,000 square foot building. The building qualified for tax increments financing district incentives worth $3.14 million. Barry said the money for the new office building is separate from the investment pool partnership for Barry Rock Homes. And probably not, but then again, they're not releasing any paperwork to let you see that, though. So, contract for deed sales have been around for generations. Before federal fair housing laws were enacted in the 1960s, they were frequent options for Black families who had been turned away from banks because of restrictive mortgage lending and redlining, the discriminatory practice of denying home loans to minority groups. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau issued a report in August for a contract for deed sale and their effects on the housing market. It is said that they can perpetuate substandard housing stock, inflate home prices, and translate into less access to mainstream mortgage credit. See, yeah, because Oklahoma's got some issues. Well, I think it's all over the U.S. and a lot of places where housing is just becoming more and more out of reach for regular people because companies are buying up houses and then turning around and selling it for a price that almost nobody can manage to keep up with. And the fact that they pretty much named our governor, our lieutenant governor, and a couple other dipshits in this fucking scheme is amazing. And the fact that people aren't rioting at that man's door is amazing. If I can, I'm going to put sugar in his fucking gas tank. I just don't think he actually drives his own vehicle. His little security detail probably does it for him. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau issued a report August. Did I read this part? I think I did. Yes, I did. Because forfeiture provisions allow lenders to reclaim the homes and retain the borrower's payments and the value of any repairs, sellers or investors can profit from borrowers' inability to sustain home ownership. So that's where they're making a lot of money. So they're making themselves be the only option to people who, have money, but it's difficult, like, from bad credit or something to get a regular loan or whatever. And so they're getting those people. And if they start to fall behind, they get to keep all the person's payments, the value of all the repairs they do to the house, everything, and just throw those people out and do it all over again to somebody. This is fucking madness. They're targeting people who are having a tough time to take advantage of them further. This is fucking madness. This is a long fucking article. Jesus Christ. Let me go check on y'all real quick. Fucking, I'm out of breath and shit. Hey, Fry TV. Well, let me get back up here a little. Wow, I've been neglecting y'all for a while. Those articles were long. I'm sorry. Oh, shit. Jesus Christ, people. Ooh, that's a lot of you. Okay. Hello, Outlaw Bill. Oh, okay. Probably should have came and checked that. Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, I had no idea. I had never seen that word written down before. I don't think I've ever even heard her pronounce it. Okay. Yeah. This is live? Yes. I just like I've been so focused on reading and trying to maintain breathing and being able to do this because of that issue I have that I've like, yeah. I'm gonna like just trying to get through the articles as quick as I can. There was no raccoon tonight. Wow, like that is me. Oh, Ryan Walters, yes, and I think they're actually $75 a piece, which makes it just fucking worse. I haven't seen any updates on it, but then again, I would have to go out of my way to find it. But yeah, probably. And I actually have a hilarious thing I'm attempting right now with my daughter being in Epic Charter School. And since Ryan Walters so wants everyone to have Bibles, I'm somewhat challenging it in my own way because you know, we have a learning fund, and you get a certain amount. You get $1,000 every year from the learning fund for each person, and your basic school shit usually takes about $200 of that, and that leaves you about $800 to buy other stuff that you need throughout the year. So I requested a Bible from 1560 something. So before like the King James version, because I figured a deep dive into how our religion has changed would be good. And they kept cock blocking me. They're like, "Oh, sorry, that's out of stock." I'm like, "No, it's not." I kept sending them a link, like, "No, it's in stock. Try again." And then they finally broke down, like, "Well, it costs too much money." I'm like, "We literally have like over $700 still in the learning fund. There's plenty of money because the book's like it was $184 at the time. The price has now dropped, so it's actually down to $178 right now. So it's actually gotten cheaper." And they were like, "Well, it's not. What do they say? It's not consumable. This, that, or the other." I forget what their excuse was. And they're like, "And we have a limit to like $10 per book or $30 for a book set." And I'm like, okay. They don't have that written on their website. I've never heard that rule before. So I took pictures of their website showing that in fact is not written down at all. And I decided to go look up some court files to see what lawyers were fighting against Ryan Walters in other cases. And I picked one, and I've been in communication with him. And he thinks this is absolutely hilarious that with all the shit that Oklahoma and Ryan Walters are doing, they have refused me a Bible, a Christian Bible, saying that it's not necessary. So we're hoping to have some fun with that. So he got my address the other day, and he said he's going to send something called an engagement letter. So basically, yeah. So we're going to go from there, but we're going to have some fun with it because at this point now that book is $178. If we send a letter, they're going to have to get their lawyer to respond. And so the fun of this is basically they will spend, even the first day responding, they will spend more money to respond to this than they would have if they had just bought the gosh dang book in the first place that we requested. This is funny to actually have to take a school almost to court in Oklahoma with all this going on because they wouldn't let me buy a Bible. I couldn't resist. I can't resist. I have to do it. It's funny as fuck. I love it because also if he's buying Trump Bibles, but he's talking about freedom of religion, the fact that they want to buy Trump Bibles, but they refuse me a Christian Bible in general, it will help show that it's not about freedom of religion. It's about, I want to push it to the point where I want to bring into question that Ryan Walters is using American or Oklahoma tax dollars to basically fund Trump or give him money for hopeful favors in the future. Sorry. The cost $3 to get made. Oh, right. I'm not purposely ignoring it. Neglecting, perhaps, but not purposely ignoring. Right. Because they're all good old boys. Good old boys aren't going to throw other good old boys in jail. We finally agree. Hey, hell yeah. Hey, Fry TV, lots of hugs to you. I hope you're doing good. Man, I hate surgery, but I can't wait to get this fixed because it is so hard to breathe right now because the swelling is pushing against the diaphragm, so I can't draw a clear breath. And it's like, oh, sucks. Probably as well as other countries. Yeah, it may be true. I do feel like I'm a little behind on this. 3 or 4 is my limit. Yeah, I feel bad because I'm like a little lost because I took so long. So one or two here. 23-year-old PC is a little. I have more than that. Let's see. Right. I'm not sure anybody won, to be honest. But I love the foosball. Detroit Lions. Hello, Daniel Barry. How are you? Dude, you're not wrong. This is Matt Getz level of fucked. Absolutely. Another example of how the elites don't give a fuck about us. Correct. Hello. How is our favorite Frost? Brett the Monster. I think I like the Frosty Broccoli better. You went by Brett for a long time when I first knew you, like years ago. And then you've been like Frosty Broccoli for at least 2 or 3. Now I have to get used to a new thing. I hate that. Tulips. Lilac rocks. Actually, I don't remember what lilac smells like. It's been so long. Hey, y'all. Temporary name change. Well, oh, okay. He answered it before I could get to ask. Right on. I have a huge tree of lilacs in the backyard. So that does sound lovely. We have honeysuckle here, but they seem to be very, like, pitiful ones. So a lot of times they don't smell as great as they could. Chat lives matter. Yes, your lives do matter. Correct. Can't argue. Can't argue with you there. I read the Bible once. It had a bad ending. Right? Well, bad ending for some, right? You can get the Bible translated from Greek. I'm actually trying to do a little Bible project right now myself. And I don't want to give too much of the detail away because, like, truth be told, I think it's a neat idea. And and there's times when I just didn't do anything with some neat ideas and someone else got them later on and I kicked myself. But I also know there's everybody out there is probably smarter than I am. So if I put the idea out there, I'm worried that somebody will be like snatching it up. It's kind of like when you tell a funny joke and nobody seems to respond, but then someone else said, like in the same group says the joke and everybody's laughing and nobody acts like you're the one that said it first. Yeah, that kind of shit happens to me. So I don't want to. I would never sell Bibles. I would never sell them for profit, nor have streams that are religious in topic. I probably at one point will do that, but not like in a televangelist way, but more of like what I think the structure of the Bible was wrong. So it would be more like a dissecting and critiquing kind of thing, but not like Joel Osteen shit or nothing. I'm not down with that crap. And I agree with you. I feel like it would be icky to try to profit off the word of God in Bibles. Like, I mean, I understand you got to pay some money. Like, you go to Walmart and buy one because there is production costs. Like, I get that. But like you said, not for profit, though. Oh, man, I'm getting short of breath. Oh, this is getting tough. That's like the IRS sending me a letter because I own them 50 cents. They're petty. They might. This up compounding interest on it and make it a lot more than 50 cents. They're dickheads. Let me rephrase. The New Testament translation from the original Greek. That would be kind of cool. I'm not going to lie. All right, let's get back to this. I'm like in the middle of the article, but it was like a long article to me, especially when you're short of breath. It's like, whew. Okay, let me get a swig of my drink. All right, let's try to get through this. Barry said that there are bad actors in the contract for deed sector, but Barry Rock isn't one of them. Sure, Barry. Sure, Jan. He said the last thing the company wants is to take back a house from a tenant with a option to buy. More than 80% of Barry Rock's customers are able to buy their homes during an option period. Yeah, because the last thing we want to do is not only have the money from that tenant and then take the home and then start all over again, be able to sell that house like twice. Yeah, they wouldn't want to do that. Why would they? Frick. Man, I need that thing from like that Hot Fuzz movie. Yeah, let me see if I can find it real quick. Let me see. See if I can find it real quick because I have a feeling I'm going to need it in the next few minutes reading this fucking article. So let me mute this for a second so I can find it correctly. All right, I found it. Get back to it. Oh, hello, Pam. How are you? I hope you're doing good tonight. All right, let me get back to it because I have a feeling like it's a very short, like 2-second clip from Hot Fuzz is going to be needed for this article. All right. We rarely come out ahead or break even when we get a property back. Yeah, sure, Barry. We didn't pick them out, and we are buying them at market rates. Mm-hmm. We absolutely work with folks on payment plans, and if they get behind, we want them to be successful. Okay. In recent years, Oklahoma lawmakers have focused on incentives for home builders to build affordable homes in cities and rural areas. The $215 million Housing Stability Program included $100 million for no-interest loans to home builders investing in affordable housing. The program provided $63 million to build affordable apartments and homes rentals, as well as down payments and closing cost assistance. But legislation has enhanced protections for renters stalled in 2024. Of course, something that might help renters stalled. Of course. Because, yeah, our Oklahoma government's corrupt as shit. Man, remind me to tell you what I found out today about most of our Oklahoma Senate and our fucking governor and our attorney general. Yo, these people need to be like tried and executed. Holy fuck. I heard some shit a representative told me. It's crazy. Anyway, Houston says she assumed Barry Rock would offer her credit counseling or personal financial classes to be able to work toward buying a home, but none of those were forthcoming. I feel like from the get-go, we were set up for failure. By October of 2023, Barry Rock had filed an eviction notice in the small claims court in Oklahoma County that showed that Houston's owed over $4,005 in back rent. That random $5 just seems off. I don't know. Houston said that she lost her job and her husband's salary alone wasn't enough to cover the rent or other expenses. Before we get to the eviction court, we're trying to, in good faith, get back into a good pattern with them, paying the late fees off, and to hopefully get to a point where we are a payment ahead so we're not falling behind every month. So financially, that is what we're trying to be smart about. The Houston said they had to deal with the high water bills streaming from leaky toilets. Under the contract, they were on the hook for repairs. That's a tough one. Yeah, I think if it's rent to own, I think you might be the ones responsible for that. I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to look up. Oklahoma is not a very renter-friendly state like some places are. That pushes them farther behind. In agreement, it says that can't come out of the rental payment either. We are responsible for all the damages and repairs, even if it's just maintenance issues. So we end up having to get the money together to buy new toilets and have somebody come out and install these toilets for us because me and my husband were not plumbers and don't know how to do that. Yeah, it does look tricky. I've seen it done. Houston said she feels guilty for putting her family in what now looks like a no-win situation. I feel like something's really off here, and I don't know what. I can't put my thumb on it. I just know that I feel like the victim over here that was dumb enough to fall for this. They have targeted poor families, which is what I said a minute ago, that have a dream of owning a home and don't want to continue having to pay these high rent prices. Yeah, Oklahoma's getting really ridiculous with their rent. So this is like, there's definitely something wrong when we have a company like this. And is it a higher up? Is that what it was? I wanted to kind of feel like it's in here somewhere. Huh. That's weird. I mean, I don't see it now, but y'all saw a little bit ago that a lot of these people, they're like the committee that oversees this is our politicians. I feel like that should not be allowed. That feels weird. Huh. That's weird. I'm not seeing it, but I know y'all already saw it, so y'all know it's there. Check chat again. You're very active chat tonight. Good to see you. I'm sorry. That's the lady miss. My bad. I'm sorry. Just move. Not so easy. Feel the same way with my governor. I think we should start tar and feathering these motherfuckers. Hello, S. Kegel. I haven't seen you in a while. It's awesome to see you here. Do not rent to own. Well, some people it's hardly any option because if you're going to pay rent, at least with rent to own, you feel like it's going to pay off later on. Yeah, a lot of tax is theft. And property tax, yeah. The idea that even if you buy your home, you never really own it is kind of fucked, you know? Ooh, excuse me. So you prefer a military like the Musketeers? What? You said no taxes. Oh my goodness, we're gonna get into a fucking thing here. No, we're not gonna get into that right now. And there it is, the roads and schools argument. There it fucking is. You know, in fairness, in America, before 1913, before we had the federal income tax, we did have schools and roads. We did. Yes. And if you don't feel like tar and feathering people, I feel like we should do like an American Revolution thing, but instead of tea, we should just throw politicians into the harbor and see what happens. I think I like the idea. The idea makes me feisty. If the governor didn't spend so much, we would be all right. Same. Yeah. Our governor's Jesus Christ. You should just like look up. Yeah, see, that's the thing. When I first heard about this many, many years ago, when I was like in my teens, and I heard about them being tarred and feathered, it didn't dawn on me that the tar was hot. I thought it was just like throwing goo on them and feathers. I didn't realize that they used hot tar on these people. It wasn't until I watched Outlander and one of the British guys had been tarred and feathered for taxing the fuck out of people. and they were showing his skin and it was all blistered and burned. And I'm like, oh, they use hot tar. So like I was in my 40s when I realized that. Hey guys, hold on just a second. All right, I'm back. My daughter was unhappy about some of her homework issue. She had a dyslexic moment, so when she was typing out the word Raphael for an answer, she got her A and her E mixed up, and so the system clicked it as wrong. And so she wrote her teacher, and she's like, I know there's probably nothing you can do since the machine itself graded this, but maybe you can do something about it. And I was like, damn. Taxes for roads, schools, utilities, pretty much like money laundering schemes these days. Yeah, they're always skimming off the top and fucking people. Then itchy feathers afterward. I didn't even think about the feathers being itchy. I figured I wouldn't feel itchiness if I've got like hot tar stuck to my skin. You know? Oh, I love that. They're so full of hot air, they would float. No shit. That's a good point. Oh, hold on a second. All right, sorry, I'm back. My daughter came back to show me a picture of one of the cats being cute. Anyway, if you want to live in the 1880s, sure, no more taxes. But there were still taxes. It just wasn't income tax. There were still other things taxed. I can't remember what all there was. I'm pretty sure there was at least some sort of a sales tax. I'd have to go look that up, actually. I actually don't know what all was taxed back then. Because I know the revolution, they were freaking out about, like, the taxing on stamps and shit, like the 3% tax on all paper goods, and they were losing their shit. But, like, we'd have to look into that. Heroes in a half shell, turtle power. Anyway, how about melted cheese and pineapple? Oh, that sounds disgusting. Killing me. We are not a pineapple channel here. I'm going to lose half my subscribers. God damn. Anyway. All right. So, yeah, these poor people, this fucking sucks. And there's definitely some fucking... And what doesn't surprise me is this is a mortgage company. It just dawned on me. So this is a mortgage company. Now, let me go find that part, because now I feel like it's super important that I find the part I was wanting to show you. Where our politicians are like in this committee that oversees this. Oh, here it is. All right. The commission of land office, which matters is this. The 5-person commission comprises of the state's top elected officials, including the governor, the lieutenant governor, the auditor, and the superintendent of public instruction. I thought it was public education. It's public instruction. Now, when you guys feel frisky, you can go Google Governor Stitt mortgage company scandal. He's been involved in shady mortgage practices, I think to the point where he's not even allowed to practice business in Arkansas now. I'm serious. Go look that up. I something about this bugged me other than obviously the face value of how fucked up this is. Fuck. Stitt is involved in another scheme of mortgage lending, mortgage company shit. Oh my God, he can't stop himself. Oh my God. Can't believe it. Oh, yeah, go look that up. All right. Well, it looks like Israel is just going to give up on the whole Hezbollah excuse. Like, Israel threatens to return to war in Lebanon and target the state itself. So, yeah, they're like, you know what? Let's just throw the Hezbollah excuse out of the way. Let's just go right for the fucking state of it. Which means that they're not even going to bother to, like, bomb stuff and then claim, oh, well, Hezbollah was there. Now they're just going to carte blanche blow up fucking everything. Israel threatens to return war in Lebanon and target the state itself. Israel last night threatened to return war. Oh, this pretty much repeats itself. If its truce with Hezbollah collapses after the deadliest day since the ceasefire. So if they have an issue with Hezbollah, they're just going to go after the state itself, even though Israel is the one that broke its ceasefire repeatedly. Like, I don't know why it's not letting me go to the next picture. Like, it doesn't have a little arrow thing for me to go to the next article or the next part of it. I'm sorry, I don't know why it's not doing that. There should be an arrow right here where you can go to the next picture. Oh, okay, I got to do it up there. Oh, God, look at that mess. I can't make that much bigger for you. I was trying to. Wow, you can just see debris everywhere. Fucking carts and donkeys drawing shit, man. They are trying to knock them back to the Stone Age. An ad. Ooh. God, I hate that guy so much. Oh, and that. So, yeah, that's just wild. The West cannot miss this opportunity to topple Assad. Like I said throughout the week, and since it started, this was an excuse to go after Assad. They've been after him since 2012, maybe even longer. But every time America, the CIA, and Israel go after these people, it gets worse. They keep claiming it's to make the Middle East safer. But they killed Saddam. Oddly enough, things got worse after that. They killed Gaddafi, and things, again, got worse. And then you start seeing the rise of ISIS. And then, yeah, now this. Because Gaddafi and Saddam might have been a prick, but a lot of this shit would not fly in the Middle East. All these, like, even Al-Qaeda, I think there was some talk that Saddam actually didn't allow Al-Qaeda around and actually punished some of them. I'd have to go look it up, but I think that was actually a thing. So, things got worse. We had all these wild, Islamic Caliphate terrorist shit things going on. I'm doing sarcastic finger quotes, you can't see me. Every time one of these quote-unquote dictators die, it gets fucking worse. Because whether we like it or not, sometimes you need a monster to keep other monsters in check. Sometimes that is just the ecosystem balance of these things. So when you take out, let's say, when you take out an apex predator, you end up with an overgrowth of the things that it would have prevented. And you end up with an invasive species of bullshit. Now, I know that seems like a weird analogy, but that's the best I have. Man, I'm having trouble breathing. Fuck. All right. If Syria falls, Hezbollah will be besieged. That's the story they'll tell you. And all of its achievements will be lost. Hassan Nasrallah, Hezbollah's terror-in-chief, it's not his official title, recently killed in an Israeli airstrike, made this assertion in 2015. Nasrallah's words are perhaps more important in today's post-October 7th world. than they were almost a decade ago, not least as Syrian opposition forces retake territory from President Assad. Against this backdrop, a unique opportunity is emerging for Israel. Oh yeah, name those fuckers right off the bat. And the West to land a decisive blow. Yep, I mean, hell, they're even naming them out loud. The Iranian regime and their terrorist proxy network. I mean, really, who's the terrorist here? Retrospectively, it's hard to know if the fall of Assad in 2015 would have prevented the October 7th attack. No, it wouldn't. It something would have been stupid in a different way. After all, back then, Hezbollah was intact. Today, however, the most lethal Iranian regime proxy in Lebanon has its capabilities decimated by Israel. No, I don't think they do. But if they have been decimated, then why are they now going to decide they're going to turn around and just go after Lebanon as a state and attack them instead? Sounds like Hezbollah was probably standing in the way of Israel attacking Lebanon straight on. And crucially, Tehran's primary supply line to rebuild Hezbollah runs through Assad's Syria. So yeah, they're just going after everybody. This isn't even about self-defense. Hell, Israel's not even saying they're defending themselves anymore. Like, they've actually finally gotten to the point where even they know it's bullshit. They don't even go, we're defending ourselves. Because you can't start a fight with 5 different countries and claim you're defending yourself. Bro, that does not happen. Even they've given up that one. The fall of Assad would cut Hezbollah's main artery and suffocate the Iranian regime-backed Palestinian terrorist group in Gaza and the West Bank. I'm pretty sure you killing almost 200,000 people in Gaza is pretty much doing that already. This alone could prevent any real possibility of a repeat of October 7th. Yes, because every supposed dictator you've ever killed stopped all the other terrorist attacks, right? Yeah, sure. Make no mistake, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, and his brutal Islamist paramilitary organization, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, which coordinates and supports and commands terrorists, including Hezbollah and Hamas. I know I read that backwards. Are already planning another attack on Israel. Of course, sure. Khamenei has maintained that Israel, what he calls a cancerous tumor, fair enough, will be eradicated in the coming decades. Decades! They want this war to go on for decades. Just like you had that 20-year war with Afghanistan. And what did we win? Yeah. Fucking nothing. Now Al-Qaeda just has control of fucking Afghanistan. Yay. Imagine that. Congratulations to Al-Qaeda for winning the war on terror. Just this week, senior IRGC commander Mohammad Reza said that the IRGC, I have a hard time with letters sometimes, is seeking a Al-Qasr Storm 2, the operation code name for the October 7th attack. Khamenei, and these guys again, are fully aware that losing Assad would land a decisive blow to their regime's regional ambitions and eternal quest to eradicate. God. Tehran spent a significant amount of money and blood to preserve Assad the last time he was on the brink of collapse. Because every time we go to the Middle East and destabilize something, things get worse. You remember, like the same analogy with the apex predator. You remember back when they were having the whole bubonic plague thing going on in Europe, and the fleas were giving people the plague, but they didn't understand what the fucking fleas were, so they thought it was something evil. So they killed the cats because they thought the cats were, connected to witchcraft that caused this, and so they killed the cats. So the rat population got out of control and things got worse. This is that. Because, like I said before, and I will say it again, and I need to make a t-shirt that says it. Sometimes you need a monster to keep the other monsters at bay. The Ayatollah declared a Shia jihad, transforming the fight in Syria into an ideological sectarian cause to recruit, radicalize, and mobilize tens of thousands of Shia jihadists. At the time, the Obama administration, who was love-struck at the prospect of a nuclear deal with Tehran, was oblivious to Khomeini's Shia jihad. I wonder how many times they say Shia jihad in one fucking paragraph. We got one, we got two, we got three, oh, we got four. Thank God this is not a drinking game. We'd already have cirrhosis of the liver. All right. Paradoxically, Obama's deal would provide Tehran billions of dollars, would end up inadvertently funding the IRGC and its Shia jihadists again. So they're worried that tax dollars will go to terrorists, yet Israel and the West are backing Al-Qaeda people who are being called Syrian rebels, even though they're not actually Syrian, to go against him. So since they have a hard time getting their boots on the ground and actually getting in there, they have basically hired mercenaries that are like Al-Qaeda adjacent. They're like a splinter group of Al-Qaeda to go do this. And they're calling them rebels because saying, hey, I know we're doing it again, but we're funding Al-Qaeda again, kind of like we did in the Cold War. We're doing it again. Maybe it won't bite us in the ass this time. Fuck off. Fuck off. I think this is a terrible idea because they're trying to show off how fucking clever they are. America, they're trying to show off how clever we can be in another country when we don't even take care of the country we've got now. Back then, Iran's regime prevailed through unrestricted hybrid violence, which combined Russian air support and the IRGC's lethal on-ground operations, including slaughtering and gassing civilians. You know what? The more I hear this bullshit, the more I just don't actually fucking believe it, to be honest. And don't get me wrong, I don't doubt that governments hurt their people. Our government hurts us all the time. I have absolutely no doubt. But, yeah. Most of the time, America doesn't care that civilians are being killed somewhere unless messing with it is actually profitable to them. So it's wild. And they did this with Saddam Hussein. They said that he was using mustard gas and shit on his people, right? So, and I don't know how many people he was accused of killing. But in the pursuit of this, going to Iraq to get him, wasn't there like a total of like 500,000 people killed? So you ended up killing more people to go after the guy than the guy had originally killed in the first place. It makes me think of that Team America World Police thing where there was like this one terrorist, and so they leveled half of fucking Paris to kill that one terrorist. And they're like, don't worry, everybody, we've helped. And they're just looking at them really giving you a dirty look because they made a bigger mess than what was originally going to happen. Yeah, that. It would take the IRGC several years to conquer Aleppo. But last week, it only took 2 days for the Syrian opposition forces, Al-Qaeda, to retake the strategic city and move towards south. That's because they were keeping Hezbollah busy that was trying to defend Lebanon. Aleppo's rapid fire has unnerved Tehran, I reckon, and most clearly demonstrates by its deployment of its Shia proxies from Iraq to Syria and the return of Javad Ghaffari, senior IRGC Quad Force commander, known as the Butcher of Aleppo. I feel like that's very melodramatic. But I'll open that up and look at that another time. Actually, yeah, this guy has got like, genocide Kosovo shit written all over him. Look at that fucking face. That's the face of a guy that you would have seen in the movie Behind Enemy Lines that had like piles of bodies and graves, like mass graves. This fucking dude, look at this motherfucker. Let's see about this guy real quick. I'm fascinated. Let's see what we got. Russian army, who's commander of Russian military, intervention in Syria, now. After joining the Soviet army in 1978, rose to the ranks. commander. Let's see if he did any wild shit. Graduated from a place I cannot fucking pronounce in 1978 and joined the Soviet Army. Got that. Russian career. Let's see. Wonder if there is any like war crimes he might have done. Because he looks like the incarnation of a war crime. He does. This dude looks like he left landmines for like Eastern European kids to accidentally find. He was the chief of staff, motor rifle division, blah blah blah. Awarded for merit of the fatherland. The fatherland. 2005 became the deputy director. Blah blah blah. Syrian war sanctions. And European Union enacted sanctions against him due to his role in the. Oh, let's see. We may have just found this. Is an international incident that occurred in 2018 during the Russian Federal Service Coast Guard fired upon a captured 3 Ukrainian naval ship after they attempted to transit from the Black Sea to the Sea of Azov through the strait. See the strait. That's a whole lot about that one incident. Military. Okay, let's see. Chechnya. Oh boy, I feel like there's a lot to unpack with the whole Chechnya thing. Fuck. Our reputation is often cited as international press for the harsh conduct of his military campaigns, particularly in Chechnya and Syria. He has been accused of having pursued scorched earth tactics. Ooh-wee. That sounds like mass graves to me. Retired U.S. Navy Admiral James, spoke in an interview of what he said was known as the epithet of the Butcher of Syria. However, the Institute for Study of War noted that his tenure was marked by a large number of civilian deaths, and it's not especially bloody compared to the operations as a whole. Yeah, when I said this guy looks like he committed war crimes, I'm not shitting. Yeah. All right, hold on. I got to mute y'all for a minute. Sorry, my daughter's giving me absolutely adorable updates on our cat who is sleeping. That is some cute pictures. I'm sorry. That's worth pausing. That, and I never want my daughter to think that I choose a live stream over her. She's 17. I'm still excited that she likes to come in and talk to me occasionally. And so far, I have made it through almost pretty much her teen years. We aren't there yet. She's still got 18 and 19 to go. But I've made it through her teen years without her ever telling me she hates me. I'm pretty fucking excited about it. Got my fingers crossed, you know what I mean? All right. Let's get back to this mess. Whew, Butcher of Aleppo. Yeah. Whew. Man, I was supposed to judge a book by a cover, but I think I was actually pretty accurate with that. As soon as I saw it was Russian, I'm like, or Soviet anyway, I was like, oh, fuck. Chechnya, I'm like, yeah, we're getting there. The fast deployment of Ghaffari and other senior IRGC, eventually I'm used to saying that correctly, commanders in Syria also speak to Tehran's fear of the domino effect. Oh, yeah. That's basically what I was talking about. I just didn't know how to explain it as a domino effect, but yes. There is a real concern among Iran's ruling elite that the recent decapitation of Hamas and Hezbollah, followed by Assad's collapse, could mean their regime is next. Yes! That's exactly what it means. They're wiping out everybody they can. And I honestly, partially, the thing in Gaza was to not only practice using different weapons that they haven't used yet on civilians, but also to kind of see what the world stage would actually do about it. And so they kept getting worse and getting worse, testing the waters, realizing America's not going to do anything to stop them. So they're realizing this has emboldened them to take on more and more and more until Israel takes over the Middle East, which, if you haven't looked it up, you can look up the Greater Israel Project. That's a fun deep dive. Enjoy that one. The fast deployment of Qatari and other commanders in Syria also spoke to the domino effect. Right. Sorry. I read that. The anti-regime dissent has reached unprecedented levels in Iran, and the next wave of protests are only a matter of time. Yeah, that means they're working on getting some bought and paid for soldiers to go protest and start shit in this other person's country. But how should Israel and the West react to these unfolding events? Some argue that Israel should not support Syria's opposition or weaken Assad's regime out of fear that the collapse of Assad would result in a reemergence of Islamic terrorists, like it does every single goddamn time they fucking do this. Sorry. I get a little feisty sometimes. Yeah, seeing people do the same shit again and again, going, hey, maybe this time it'll be fucking different. Price on a cracker. This is wrong for two reasons. First, the rise of ISIS was manufactured in part by Assad's regime. Fucking hell. And I do believe ISIS actually was fucking with Syria a bit, and not in a good way, because didn't ISIS go around to different places and start destroying like ancient Muslim artifacts, which Muslims would not do? But someone who was a Muslim would. Someone who'd want to destroy their history. You know what? Fuck it. Let's go take a peek right now. Let's see if we can find some shit from way back. Where's my keyboard? Where's that shit? There it is. All right. Syria. Nope, wrong key. ISIS. Let's go 2012. Let's see what we get for that. The Battle of Aleppo. Maybe I should do the new option for news. Maybe that would help. Oh, 8 hours, 3 hours, 20 days. I would like shit that actually shows up in the time span that I fucking requested. I said 2012, but that's what I meant. With fucking whatever. They always try to flood the new stuff real hard, so it makes it harder and harder for you to find it and catch their bullshit from like 10 years ago or whatever. Well, 12 years in this particular case. Horse shit, more horse shit. Ooh, 7 years ago. How is ISIS involved in Syria? Let's fucking do it. Let's see what we get. Let's hope it hasn't been updated. Understanding of Syria conflict, blah, blah. Accept cookies. Sure, why not? The ongoing conflict has already lasted longer than the Second World War. Oh, shit. As a result, nearly 500,000 people have been killed. Almost 11 million, half the pre-war population. Blah, blah, blah. Wow, they're not really explaining any. They didn't really mention, you know what? Fuck these people. I'll find something. Bye, guy. Let's see what we get here. Oh, I swear to God, we paid for like faster internet. Yeah, but fuck us, right? I'm starting to think they don't want us to go do way back deep dives on this stuff and catch them in their lies. Just saying. 4 years ago. All right, let's see. Meet the army veteran who helped withdraw Syria as the ISIS fuck all thing drags on. So let's see real quick. I hate these big parts right here, so you can hardly see this. Let's see the Syrian logistics cell. located in Ibril, Iraq, is composed of a small team of soldiers who pack a big punch. When it comes to supporting the war fighters in Syria, our team assisted in deliberate withdrawals several bases in Syria while simultaneously continuing to defeat ISIS. Boy, that was a short fucking article, but they're getting stingy with the history, aren't they? Oh, here we go. Syrian girl forced to marry ISIS fighter. Huh. That doesn't sound good. Boy, look at this. They're just doing some crazy shit, making it hard to read anything from back then. This is a suspicious sick, my friends. Ooh, ISIS cell continued to spread terror. This was a month ago. Let me go see this real quick. Oh, we're doing this. These never let me in. See? It'll just do it again. Yep. These never let me in. I don't know what the fucking deal is. All right, I promise I am certain that ISIS has done some fucked up shit in Syria, and Assad was not thrilled about that. Okay, there we were. First of all, the Assad is part of Assad's regime. I don't actually believe that is true. The second is, because let's think about this real quick. If ISIS was manufactured by Assad's regime, and Assad is not a huge fan of Israel any more than Israel is of him. But don't you think it's weird when all this shit ISIS was doing in the early 2010s and shit, going around cutting off people's fucking heads and making internet videos and all that shit, they never once fucked with Israel. They fucked with almost everybody else, but they never fucked with Israel. And Israel is only the size of New Jersey. You don't think that's kind of bizarre? That's the ones they didn't fuck with? So, yeah, that's another reason why I don't believe that the ISIS is part of the Assad's regime. Makes no fucking sense that they would go after other Muslims or people they weren't Muslim enough or whatever. But shit, Assad wasn't even targeting. Let's see, and the IRCG, GC, I swear to God, I wish they would fucking do this. Through the release of Salif Jihadi prisoners in order to divide the opposition and convince the West that the survival of Assad is the least bad option. Because it fucking is. It is the least bad option, actually. The second is, as the campaign against ISIS demonstrated, ousting Islamic forces in Syria is a much easier task than getting rid of the Iranian regime. So I'm basically picking on Syria because it's an easier target, not because it's actually the right thing to do. Which is equally as toxic as jihadi, but with more resources and intent to eradicate Israel. Oh, Israel and the West should be capitalize on Assad and Khamenei's moment of vulnerability. That is a terrible idea. They should act militarily through targeted airstrikes to weaken Assad and these guys again, and the Shia jihadists. So if you're playing that game, go ahead, take another shot. Proxies, even though it's temporary, opens a potential vacuum. That's what happens. This is what fucking happens. A vacuum for the Islamic elements of the Syrian opposition. So they know this is going to happen. They want to do it anyway. Because they make shit tons of money on the instability. Because if they take down Assad, it makes more room for more crazy fucking shit that's going on. So they'll have another reason to send your children to this new fucking war for 20 years. And we'll have a whole new generation of young men and women not knowing what they're fucking doing, going and fighting stupid proxy wars in the Middle East again, while their stripper girlfriend back home is cheating on them, just like it happened in the early 2000s. I've seen a lot of weird shit, just trust me. Anyway, in 2015, Nasrallah ended his speech by stating Assad Syria is the backbone of Hezbollah and Tehran's terrorist network of terrorist militia. The opportunity has now arisen to break that backbone, and Israel and the West should not hesitate to do so in pursuit of a greater strategic victory. They want to run a pipeline, among other things. They want to run a pipeline that helps bypass a few things to make money, and Syria is right in the way of this. There is a dozen different motives for what they're doing, and none of them are for the greater good. Just gonna say that now. Next article. God, I'm trying to get through these. It's hard to breathe. Okay. If Assad falls, Putin and mullahs could be next. I don't know what this is. I'm assuming it's this guy. You know, I thought that was the Ayatollah Khomeini. But that also could be another name for him. I don't know. Like, do I look like a rocket surgeon to you? I don't fucking know. I'm just kidding. The lightning assault by Syrian rebels, Al-Qaeda, that has seen them seize control of Aleppo, Syria's second city, is a classic case of how the law of unintended consequences can cause dramatic change to a global landscape. I'm pretty sure America is used to that kind of dramatic change. With so much turmoil taking place in the Middle East, Syria's long-running civil war, which began in 2011, has become something of a sideshow. This is despite Syrian dictator Assad being accused of war crimes for his role in the estimated 500,000 deaths during the conflict, for the forcing of half the country's 25 million population to flee. Actually, as we saw in one of the articles earlier this week, part of that high number of deaths was caused by the people who were trying to take down Assad. Had Assad been left alone, there would not have been 500,000 deaths. And besides, if somebody's a shitty dictator, what happened to the good old days where you just let the people go ahead and get him instead of getting other countries involved? Because I can assure you, as me, I sat here in Oklahoma, Assad is not threatening my fucking freedoms. You know, is my government. I am more afraid of my government than I am of Assad. Why? Because he's all the way over there, I'm all the way over here, and that fucker doesn't know I exist and does not care. We make it our problem by putting our nose into shit that don't belong to us. While Syria merited the occasional mention in the broader context of Israel's ferocious military campaign against Iranian-backed terror groups in Gaza and Lebanon, it's usually after the country found itself the victim of collateral damage. One case was Israel's bombing in April of Iran's consulate in Damascus. I'm finally glad somebody's talking about this, because they had been poking at Iran for a while, and the news didn't want to talk about it. So Israel would throw some shit at Iran would throw some shit back, and everybody's like, oh my God, Iran threw a missile at Israel. It's like, like, okay. So yeah, this, and at least they're admitting that Israel bombed their fucking consulate. What would we do if someone bombed our consulate? Yeah, exactly. Which operated as a hub for, oh, for God's sake, as a hub for planning terrorist operations. Jesus Christ. Everything's a terrorist this, a terrorist that. Jesus. As the regime itself, its main preoccupation has been to prevent Assad from being drawn into Israel's military campaign against Hezbollah in the southern Lebanon. This is no easy task, given that most of the terror group's weaponry is shipped via from Iran via Damascus airport. Assad's desperation not to become involved in the direct military conflict with Israel has meant his regime has been reluctant to act when Israel warplanes attack targets in Syrian territory. So if he has all these weapons that he can send, it's funny how they never shoot down Israeli warplanes that bomb his country. That's kind of interesting, I think. Because if I had all those weapons I could just send out to other people, seems weird I wouldn't shoot one of those fuckers down. Assad's insistence on remaining neutral in Israel's war with Hezbollah. Oh! So Assad wants to remain neutral in a war that isn't his. Imagine. Even led the Biden administration to give serious thought to restoring ties with the regime in return for Damascus ending its long-standing alliance with Iran. So, wow. So they're even admitting that Assad is insisting on remaining neutral in this and not getting involved, even though Right here, it says Israel warplanes target his territory. He's trying not to go after Israel. He's trying to stay neutral in the war he has with another country. Israel has with another country. So yeah, they're punishing him for not getting involved. They're punishing him for basically not playing games with the West and playing along to get along. So yeah, you saw it here first. I'm sure we have all heard about the United Healthcare CEO getting John Wicked in New York. Could have happened to a better guy, because turns the fuck out, apparently that guy was about to be investigated for insider trading. I'm sure there was other terrible things about him too. Because here's the thing. Insurance companies make money in such a way that, like, they will turn you down for treatments if they think the treatment is too costly, that they would benefit more by you just not having your treatment and dying than they would to pay for your treatment and you may or may not live. So the richer an insurance company is, the worse they are in a way, I think. So anyway, someone decided to get this guy. And apparently, supposedly, like, I don't know if this is true, but it certainly sounds like something out of a fucking movie. Writing on the shell casing discovered at the scene where United Healthcare CEO was shot. The words deny, defend, and depose were discovered by detectives on the shell casings found at the scene where Brian Thompson, the CEO of a major insurance company, United Healthcare, was gunned down. Police told ABC News on Wednesday. Thompson was shot to death at point-blank range in Midtown Manhattan on Wednesday morning before he was set to attend an investors' conference. The masked gunman, who remains on the loose, carried out a brazen, targeted attack that was premeditated, clearly. Commissioner Jessica Tisch said at a news conference, but the motive remains unknown. Well, he didn't rob the guy. I'm sure the guy had money on him, so he didn't rob him. So most likely, he shot this guy probably because either he himself or someone he cares about was probably refused treatment that would have saved their lives. And they probably killed so many people this way, they'll probably have a hard time tracking down which claim they refused. New York detectives are working to determine whether the words were meant as a message from the shooter or a hint at his motive. Could be a little both. The shooter appeared to be laying wait at the hotel where he shot Thompson at 6:40 in the morning. What's wild is, like, how did he even know he was there? Although the guy could be really good at what he does. The video captures the moment the gunman walked up behind the CEO, and pointed his gun at him and fired. A witness fled as Thompson stumbled and fell to the ground. The gunman then walked closer to Thompson and firing more times before fleeing. First off, he barely fled. He didn't run. That dude was acting like he was taking a stroll in the park. This dude had his shit together. Like, I saw the video. Dude's got a motherfucking silencer. Holy shit. The shooter was seen at this video at 5 a.m. in the morning. Wait. The shooter was seen on a video at 5 in the morning. Oh, okay. The morning of the shooting outside the Frederick Douglass House, a public housing project in the Upper West Side. I actually didn't know they had public housing projects in the Upper West Side, but okay. When the suspect was spotted on video at the Frederick Douglass House, he was seen carrying what appeared to be an e-bike battery. Thompson's wife said in a statement, "She's shattered by the senseless killing." Do you not know how your husband makes money, hon? Every car and every fancy thing you have is probably the death of one of their clients. Brian was an incredibly loving, generous, talented man. Blah, 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 fucking blah. Thompson, 50, worked in New York in the United Healthcare Investors Conference, which was scheduled for 8 a.m., and his schedule was widely known. Well, okay, that explains it. The conference was being held at the Hilton outside where he was shot. La-di-da, la-di-da. Well, I hope I don't get a copyright for this, but I had to make a Facebook story for this because my dad died because Blue Cross Blue Shield did not think that my dad was worth giving him cyberknife for his brain tumor. So when you hear me sound like being such a prick, remember, monsters aren't born, they're made. Let me scroll up a smidge. Hello, CNA Productions. How are you? Oh my goodness, James Rohrbach. I haven't seen you for you out weirdo me. I dare give me some time. Oh my goodness, I haven't seen you in like what, a year or so. So glad to see you again. Did I miss a lot up here? I did miss a lot. I'm so sorry. Ooh, lots of people. But I'm always happy to have y'all here. Let's see. Fry TV, hello again. Meow to Sasha. Hers are instant. Well, yeah, I mean, I have my moments. They bombed Gaza, Lebanon, Syria. Right? Exactly. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, they went after Yemen, too. Yeah, it's so wild to be like, yeah, we're defending ourselves. You literally initiated attack on 5 countries. Like, can you imagine if I went out to a place and started hitting random people and said I was defending myself? You know how silly I would look? They'd lock me in a mental institution. Chat, gypsy, harmless troll. Ah, righto. Well, welcome. Glad to have you. Let's see. MAGA and Nerdish. I'm sure there's many combinations of the two in here. Crazy kids. Let's see. Oh, Beetlejuice on IMAX. Or on Max tomorrow. Not IMAX. I'm sorry. On Max. Gotcha. What the hell did Keaton do? Did I fucking miss something? They're not very underground. They're quite out and proud, to be honest. They show up and they show out. Like, no lie. How many shots were taken? It's hard to tell. It looks like at least one. I'm thinking in my head. I'll show you the video in a minute. Although I'm hoping I won't get in trouble because of the song I played. So I might get a copyright for it. But I think it's pretty funny. Let's see. What a shock. A mask. Yeah, no kidding. Well, at some point they supposedly, even the jacket looks different. They supposedly have a picture of the guy with his mask down, smiling. Dude's got a charming smile. I'm gonna lurk, fading fast. Gotta hold my comments. Well, meow meow. Well, when you do sleep, I hope it is a good sleep. That'll be happy dreams and such. Obviously, right? Because at one point, like after he fired the shot, his gun jammed, and you see him hit it against his hand, make a movement, and continue firing. He cleared that jab in about less than 2 seconds. It was impressive. It's a suppressor. Yeah, okay. Technically, yes, it is a suppressor. Ah, yes, an early Merry Christmas to you. Just a smidge. Ah, thank you, sugar. Yes, I'm sorry. It does take me a bit. I'm sorry. Let me see if I can show you my Facebook where it like. Oh, is it gone yet? Oh shit! Ah, it's already gone. God damn it! I can put it back up real quick and let you see it. Give me a second. Because I personally thought it was funny, and I because when I do a Facebook story, I try to find a song that I feel fits the situation somehow. Let me mute this real quick. I want to minimize how much copyright hit. All right, it's loading into my Facebook story now, so I'll be able to share it. Actually, if I'm sharing the whole screen, it should not actually play the music for you. Although you might hear it in a secondary way from my speakers. But there's that song that's popular on TikTok right now, going surprise, surprise. So, all right, let's see it. Let's give it a refresh. Jam, boom, and cleared it. So, like, I try to cue it up. So, like, when he steps into the scene and shoots him, he goes, surprise, surprise. I know that's tacky, but again, I am simply a product of life I have lived. Maybe I wouldn't be such an insensitive prick if the greed of insurance companies didn't lead to my dad's death. Which, actually, now that it's after midnight, it is December 6th. It is the anniversary of my dad's death in 2009. So, oddly, the timing of seeing the CEO fucking eat one, kind of cathartic, I'm not gonna lie. Alright. So, fucking impressive. Cleared his, gun jammed, he cleared that fucker fast and kept going. I'm impressed. You usually don't see that kind of skill on the streets like that. It's impressive. I'm assuming there's a decent chance this guy is well trained, and it's hell, he might even come from a family. I'm trying to give the guy a backstory. But not only is he a veteran, his dad's probably a veteran, and the insurance company probably refused a treatment to save his father's life, and so he has taken revenge. Long live that soldier. All right, next article. What's Trump's plan to end IRS overstepping could mean for audits of rich people and call hold times for everyone else? I am curious about that. The Biden administration tried turbocharging the IRS tax collection capabilities with billions in extra funding. Yeah, because that's exactly what the fucking IRS needs. More capabilities. And turbocharging it, no less. Those enforcement efforts face a new challenge due to Capitol Hill maneuvers on funding. It may be a preview of a scaled-back role of the top tax auditors, or for tax auditors, as Donald Trump returns to the White House. Well, let's hope for the best on that, at least. Trump's team is already telling MarketWatch that he'll end bureaucratic overstepping at the IRS. Jesus Christ, I hope so. Any three-letter agency needs to be fucking toned down a bit, honestly. Rewind to 2022 when Democrats passed an Inflation Reduction Act, giving the IRS $80 billion in funding over the decade. Isn't it weird how somehow it's an Inflation Reduction Act that gives $80 billion to this agency? I feel like that's like the opposite. Kind of like when you have the Patriot Act, but there's nothing patriotic about it. It's kind of like that. I feel like it's just the way they name it is just gaslight us. More than half the money was for increased enforcement, focused on business and wealthy households that make at least $400,000. The rest of the funding was devoted to better customer service and technology improvements. Like they need it? The funding infusion was needed to rebuild a beleaguered IRS and narrow a gap on unpaid taxes, where rich tax cheats were big contributors. So we rebuild the beleaguered IRS? You mean we were that close to having that shit collapse? Fuck. It's a missed opportunity there. Republicans, wary of the potential for waste and overreach, have had enforcement money in their sights ever since. Now there is $20 billion in IRS funding that is potentially bound for a freeze due to wording on laws that have temporarily averted a government shutdown, according to Democrat lawmakers and Treasury officials. That's after the 2023 debt ceiling between congressional Republicans and the Biden White House already steered roughly $20 billion away from the agency. There are so many billions of dollars running around. God almighty. Paying them so much to do all this silly shit. We're going to give you billions of dollars so you can take billions of dollars from the people. It's infuriating. Without the $20 billion that's in limbo now, there could be 8,000 fewer audits of rich people. But is it really rich people they go after? Is it really, though? Because the super rich people usually most have their accounts somewhere else. And corporations from 2025 to 2029, according to the IRS estimates out last week. Starting in 2026, IRS workers will be able to answer far fewer customer service calls, and taxpayers with questions would have to wait longer estimated times. Who the hell calls the IRS? I don't. I deal with them do TurboTax, which I know TurboTax is kind of crap, but I'm used to them. So like I might as well, they have all my records now, so I don't want to start over a new company, so I just suffer through it, you know. Plus, their little chat thing at the side of the window. If I have any questions, they're like there in 5 minutes to help me. So I know that sounds like a commercial, and I apologize, and I wish they were paying me for that. Unless law soon assure that $20 billion in funding, Wally, whatever the fuck his name is, Deputy Treasury Secretary, you can see a dramatic fall off in our ability to do things that I think matter most, which is raise revenue. That means taking more money from you. That's what that means. They're the IRS. If they're raising revenue, it means that he thinks what matters most is taking money from you. That's really what that is saying, especially from those people who are not paying on a regular basis, wealthy individuals and corporations. If I didn't think it would give me a brain aneurysm, I would try to get versed in tax law to know how much full of shit that. It feels like it's full of shit, though. It does. It feels like it's full of shit. I just don't know enough about tax law to know, or statistics to know for sure. Hopefully one of y'all can let us know just how full of shit this is. Because it feels like it. It could be just that when the IRS's mouth is moving, it lies. Anyway, on a regular basis, wealthy individual corporations, but also dramatic fall off in customer service. Dialed down audit ambitions are likely coming anyway, according to Republican observers talking about the future of the IRS. I expect the IRS budget to be reduced. A former acting IRS commissioner and Treasury Department official in the first Trump administration, Republican lawmakers will be willing to pay for better technology and customer service or customer support, he said, but money for enforcement and anything to cover overhead of larger IRS, it will substantially be cut back. Well, yeah, because damn. It's weird how originally our income tax, I do believe originally a lot of these taxes were supposed to be temporary for like some kind of a war effort, and they just never got rid of it. It just sort of stayed like an unwanted house guest. And now they're taking fuck tons of your money to artificially resuscitate this absolutely archaic fucking institution they have here to fuck you some more. The incoming Trump team wants to change the default mentality from we're the tax police, which is where it is today, to a customer service agency. We're here to help people do their taxes. We want to go from robbing you to robbing you nicer. With IRS enforcement, the assumption is that you're guilty until proven innocent. That is most of the law system in America if you're not rich. Yeah. And that needs to change, he said. Ellis is also a tax professional with some business-owning clients in the six-figure range. They are not looking to cheat. They are looking to stay out of trouble. I hear that. President Trump will deliver on his promise to stop the bureaucratic overstepping that occurs in many areas of the federal government, including the IRS. Fuck, I hope so. I don't know if this is true, but it sounds good. Said Taylor Rogers, spokeswoman for Trump-Vance transition team. Trump will cut the taxes and increase transparency and make government efficient again. Again? Government had a hard time ever being efficient. I don't feel like reading this much fucking more about taxes. I really don't. So do feel free if you are so inclined. It is an article from Market Watch. So if you want to check that out later, you are welcome to do so. Finally, the last fucking article of the night. So this fucking twit, Kash Patel, is going to be the dipshit that's going to be in charge of the CIA. And he has already gotten big for his britches. Like, he's not even in office yet, I don't think. And he's already getting sassy. Kash Patel threatens to take legal action against MSNBC commentator. Oh boy, this should be fun to find out about. Oh, it's one of those stupid things where I have to click on it. Christ. The lawyer of Kash Patel, President Trump's pick for the lead FBI, sent a letter to MSN commentator threatening to take legal action unless she retract her remark about him being on the network. Wait, okay. Olivia Troy, who once served the Trump administration before becoming a fierce critic of the president, shared a letter by Patel's attorney on social media. Litigation will be filed against you if you fail to publicly retract your defamatory statement you made about Mr. Patel on MSNBC. Oh, I'm curious what that comment was. It accuses her of making several false defamatory statements about Patel. During the MSNBC segment, Troy called Patel a delusional liar, accused him of lying about intelligence. She accused him of making things up on operations to the point where he was accused of putting lives of Navy SEALs at risk in an operation when it came to Nigeria. Woo! I wonder if she has the receipts, because you can't really get someone for defamation if it's true, I believe. Troy also accused Patel of misinforming the Vice President Mike Pence. Ooh, I want to see her receipts. I do. Because that sounds juicy as fuck. Let's see. She claimed she would have to double check his work so she did not pass on misinformation to the Vice President while working for him as a special advisor during the Trump administration. The letter from Patel's lawyer called her criticism of him complete fabrication. At no point did Mr. Patel ever lie about national intelligence, place Navy SEALs at risk, or misinform the Vice President. The letter accused her of not only having knowledge of the falsity of the smear, but doing so with malicious intent of degrading his character, and of cynical self-promotion. The letter demanded she retract her remarks with a public statement on her X account within 5 days of receiving the letter. Unless this step is taken, Mr. Patel will take legal action and uphold his right and reputation. It also directed her to preserve documents related to Patel, including emails, texts, and other electronic messages, voice recordings, voicemails, drafts, note communications, documents. Jesus. There's a lot of shit there. Skip ad. It asked for confirmation of the receipt of the letter and intention to retract the statement, as well as confirmation she intended to retain the documents and data. But Troy decided to make the entire letter public on social media by posting it to X. Fuck yeah. This aligns with his threat against media and political opposition, revealing how he might conduct himself if confirmed in the role. Yeah, I agree. Like, honestly, if I was pissed off, I would have posted his letter publicly too. I would have. So I don't blame her for that. Let's see. I stand by my statements. My priority remains the safety and security of the American people. I am not the only one who has expressed concern about him. So why me? And so it begins, she finished. Troy, who previously served in the Department of Homeland Security during Trump's first term and Defense Department during the Bush administration, came out as a fierce critic of Trump after serving his administration. She was one of multiple former Trump officials to speak out against him during the 2024 campaign, including the state of the Democratic National Convention. From that, Trump announced on Saturday that he intended to nominate Patel, a close ally and controversial pick, to be the next FBI director, cutting short the tenure of the current FBI director, Christopher Wray, which, if I remember correctly, is kind of a dipshit. Patel served as chief of staff to the acting defense secretary during Trump's first term, as well as the National Security Council, and as an advisor on the acting director of national intelligence. He is a 2020 election denier. I don't really care about that part. Who has also been a vocal critic of the bureau he is being tapped to lead, accusing the FBI of deep state activity. To be fair, we all know that the FBI is shit, whether you call it the deep state or just good old-fashioned corruption. So, I mean, I can't argue with him on that part. Patel has also gone after media, claiming during the December 2023 podcast taping on Steve Bannon's show that they will come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens to help Joe Biden rig the presidential election. Patel would have to be confirmed by the Senate to become the next FBI director. In her appearance on MSNBC, The Ride Out on Monday, Troy warned Patel is someone who openly has contempt for the people and national security, for people, especially in the Department of Justice, they are kind of fuckwits, and the FBI. She called it insane if he becomes the FBI director, as she said she fears that law enforcement officers who will have to navigate working for him. I think they're all terribly unqualified. I think they're all terrible as fuck. And, like, I think they all should be thrown in jail or fired. That's just kind of where I'm at on all of it. I hate them all. Let's see. Oh, hello, Canada RV. How are you? Oh, hello, Bone Kitty. I hope you're doing good. I'm always happy to see you when you're here. Meow, meow. Let's see. Some things loaded about I can reset. Ugh. And my Acer Care stuff back. All right, on. Still working on Wi-Fi. We'll see what the factory reset does. May the force be with you, my boy. Let's see. I have quite a bit working. Right. Right. Hello. Well, I've gotten it out of my system, and I'm super I still apologize that I started so late because, again, I have multiple StreamYard accounts because I'm not paying these assholes $20 a month. I'm fucking not doing it because, fuck no. Because honestly, if I pay for it, then I'm suddenly going to slack and not live stream much anymore, and it's going to be a mess. So I use like 4 different email accounts to have 4 different things so I can have, 20 hours a month times 4. And so I was in one account when I set up this live stream, and it was not the same when I was signed in on my computer. So I went and looked on my StreamYards on the computer. I was sitting here thinking I wasn't feeling good today, and I kind of went to sleep early. Maybe I thought I made the live stream, couldn't find it. That's why I didn't start for 3 hours, because I sit here about to make another live stream setup, and I'm like, you know what? This feels familiar. So I went and checked my actual YouTube page and realized that there is, in fact, a live stream that was waiting for me. I was like, Jesus Christ. So, yeah, I'm super sorry about that. I'm just super glad y'all are here. Maybe it worked out. Maybe this was a better time for y'all than 7 o'clock would have been. So I'm hoping there's a silver lining to it. And I am, again, super happy to have y'all. But let's see. Just like little grade school bullies. I mean, the FBI thing, you mean? Use Restream. Jesus, I hate learning something new. Or at least when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like, I like learning new stuff when it comes to, like, world events, politics, things like that. But, like, programs, I don't know. I suddenly turn into a curmudgeon-y old lady. I'm like, back in my day, we had Google Hangouts, And I don't know if I ever tried Restream. It looks complicated as fuck. I mean, obviously, I don't know. Maybe it's complicated for me. I hope you feel better. I was there, I know, I felt so bad. Yeah, don't feel bad about being late. Never feel bad about being late. I'm always just happy you're here. It's a safe setup in StreamYard. Okay, that does make me feel a little bit better. Maybe, I don't know. Let's see later, but maybe we can talk about, like, the benefits of that, and I can consider it. But, I mean, I've already got it set up where I got 4 different accounts I could use, which is kind of neat. And so, like, I don't know if I want to change that. I mean, I kept Google Hangouts until they pretty much just would not let us stream from Google Hangouts to YouTube anymore. And then I had to come to StreamYard, and I stayed here ever since. I don't like moving around a lot. Good Lord, 2 hours and 30 minutes. God dang. Yeah, that was taking an extra long time. I did have a lot of fucking stuff open. Jesus. I didn't mean for it to get that bad. Because I try to only have about 10 or 15 things open and then just work with that. I think I had like 25 things open. I'm not sure, but it was a lot. It felt like a lot. Those articles were kind of long. Plus, again, I'm having like some breathing restrictions. because of the abdominal swelling from that fucking little tear I have near my diaphragm. Don't worry, it's not the actual diaphragm that's torn. At least I don't think so. Fuck, I think I would be in a lot worse pain. But it's just that it's causing it to kind of puff up, making the breathing a little funky. So, but at least I now know what it is. And so I will try to find my happy ass to the doctor so they can give me an official referral so I can go see Dr. Greenway. I think it's Greenway. He's the only doctor I trust to cut me open. He's the only one. So if you're ever in Oklahoma and you need someone to cut you open, that is the guy he specifically works on abdominal surgeries. But point is, I told him he was awesome, and if we have an apocalypse team, he is officially invited. I also told that to my dentist as well. He thought that was amusing, but appreciated it. Anyway. Oh, yeah, I'm much, well, now that I know it's there, I'm going to be a little more careful. Because, yeah, I was going up in the attic, and the attic's kind of short, so you have to kind of hunch down and hunch over and do this, like, little scuttle, like Dr. Zoidberg and shit, trying to get up there to get this shit done. And I wouldn't have done that, or I would have done it more carefully, had I known that there was an actual tear in my abdomen. I didn't realize that. I knew it hurt. I just didn't know that was fucking happening. So I was just trying to brave through it and get it done. So I feel stupid for that, which I technically shouldn't because I didn't know what was wrong. Because sometimes you just have pains. You don't realize it's something bad. But I was at the Capitol today. There's this group, and they're trying to basically bring child services in front of a grand jury for all the corruption, the falsifying of evidence, trafficking of kids. It's a whole fucking thing. Oh, yes. That's right. I was going to fucking tell you. So, I don't want to say his name here right now because I don't want them to kind of go for him in case any of them happen to come across this. But one of our Oklahoma representatives was talking to me. And, he was telling me how he was basically, he's basically him and like one or two others, the only ones that are willing to try to stop child services from doing this shit and to hold them accountable and actually drag them in front of a grand jury. And they have to get a whole bunch of people to sign these petitions because it's the only alternative to do because the Senate, the Oklahoma Senate, I'm like leaning in like you can see me, were cock blocking him, at least most of them. There were a few that were trying to help him, but most of the Oklahoma Senate did their best to shut down the investigation against child services. Yo, and guess who else was complicit in this? Our Attorney General Drummond and our Governor Stitt. Kevin Stitt. Those are the ones that are complicit in the crimes of these children and these families. Holy fuck. And he fucking told me. And I said, can you tell me? Hold on, let me go get the little booklet thing. Oh, fuck, my legs hurt. Also, scuttling, kind of crouched down, also kind of used leg muscles I wasn't used to using. So now it fucking hurts. But hold on. But dude, the representative, man, he was about to ready to serve these motherfuckers up. And I told him that he needs to find some dirt on these assholes because they can't be trusted. He implied that he already does know some bad stuff about the Attorney General, but he doesn't want to have to play that game. I'm like, with all due respect, you're wanting to play by different rules than these people do. Anyway, but I asked him, I was like, can you show me some of the people that are responsible for this? Hold on. Bro. He gave me a motherfucking pamphlet with their fucking pictures. The bigger pictures indicate that they are the leaders of the Senate. And he said it was the top officials in the Senate that were responsible for trying to shut him down and prevent him from doing the investigation. Apparently it's a weird thing where it's also goes like that. So some of these motherfuckers, actually I'm not sure about Charles McCall. He might not. Hold on. And then this is the different agencies and Health and Human Services on there somewhere. And it shows the people who are in charge of those oversight committees. And they're guilty too, and they're trying to prevent the investigation. I asked him who did it. He gave me a goddamn manual to show me. Yo, that is fucking nuts. I was like, that's got to be overwhelming, that kind of corruption. And he's like, yes. He's like, they have been doing everything they can to shut me down and stop me from doing this. I was like, holy shit, dude. It's crazy. Like, it's not even conspiracy theory at that point when one of your elected representatives is literally talking to you, telling you this. Oh, and I saw Governor Stitt today. I saw him for a few seconds because everybody was kind of congregated around the center of the Capitol. It's called the Rotunda, I think. It's like a center thing where you can look over the balcony and see the floor below you and shit. And I was a little further out from it, where I guess it's kind of like where the elevators and the stairs are, watching it. And I look over, and lo and behold, it's Governor Stitt coming out of his office with like 3 or 4 other guys with him. And this dude's like 6'4". So like they'll be able to protect his shoulders. They ain't gonna protect nothing else. They're way shorter than he is. And I gave him a mean mug kind of look, kind of a stern look, like when you're daring your child to do something stupid. And just looked at him, and he looks at me, double takes, and he starts to slow his pace, I don't know. But I think he's trying to figure out if he knew who I was or not, or why I was looking. But I made a 6'4" man just about stop in his tracks mid-walk for a second while he pulled himself together and kept on walking. I got a little bit of a kick out of that. I thought that was funny. Like, I don't know what kind of face I must have given him. So sometimes I don't feel the expression on my face, but it was enough that it made him stop mid-walk and look, and then like kind of look over his shoulder as he continues to walk again. I hope at least for a second I made that motherfucker feel uncomfortable. I don't know if he recognized me or not because he's seen me before, but it's been a while. But anyway, he's a piece of shit. And I got like, I need to ask him to put a star or an asterisk by the people that are specifically responsible in this little brochure. So I'll be like, I almost said his name. I mean, they'll probably guess who I'm talking about, but just in case, I ain't trying to throw him like under the bus like that. But the fact that we're on the 2nd floor, he goes downstairs to near the entryway and gets me one of these and brings it back and tells me it's most of these motherfuckers, especially the ones that are the leaders of the Senate. To know that the leaders of the Senate are trying to prevent an investigation against child services. Bruh. Yo. Sorry. Woosah. Woosah. Okay. I need to hydrate. Maybe have a little piece of not cheesecake, a little piece of chocolate cake or something. Calm my tits for a minute. I don't know if y'all remember that meme from like 2012, but it says calm your tits, and it's like a little pencil sketching of a little person, and their little boobs are like, no. It was funny as shit. I picture that every time I tell someone to calm their tits. Anyway, I love you all. I appreciate all of you coming by. Y'all are terrific. You make every live stream fabulous. So many hugs to y'all. I will play our little anthem. And since it's only 1:36 in the morning, I will probably hop around on different YouTube channels and say hello in people's chats. Because I don't know who's live right now, but I'm sure somebody is. Almost certain of it. Right. Well, I always have stress. I just gotta, not quite get so worked up. Or let's not be so loud about it. I'm not trying to be loud at y'all. Anyway, I love y'all.
Welcome to the shit show. Every single day, a new flavor of fuckery. Cause everybody's such, you see, and they're dumber than a bag of clots. Monday, bullshit. Tuesday, bullshit. Wednesday, hey, what the fuck? And then 4 more days of increasingly stupid, ridiculous, ignorant, boulder, dash, poppycock, bollocks, and fuckery.